Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Wazoo here. Hey, this video goes out to my buddy Tim, who had an application with some simple logic and wanted to do something with timing, if you will. So Tim says, hey, I got a tag one that when it turns on, after 3 seconds, I would like to turn two other tags on. And these could be valves, they could be lights, whatever, but all three of these tags, just so you see, are all flag tags. And I named them tag 1, tag 2, and tag 3. They could be valves, whatever, but we're trying to stay with generic names. So in this case, just pretend there's three Boolean or flag tags. So if I go to tag 1 here, I'm going to show you two ways to do the same thing. And the preferred way I would do it. But on the surface, you would look at tag 1, and of course, in data tags, all these over here correspond to that. Data, all these are internal for this test. They can be mapped to something. But if I go to the triggers tab, here on the triggers tab, I can try something here. I can hit the pull down here and say, I can say, okay, active on means when this transitions from a 0 to a 1. And he said he wanted 3 seconds. So I'm going to put in so-called 3,000 milliseconds here. So in theory, when this goes on, there might be some internal counter that starts. And then after 3 seconds, I want to turn these other two on. Now, got a couple ways you could do that. You could hit the edit button here, which brings up this window here. In some Windows versions in the classes I've taught, this becomes really small and you can't see it, but you could drag this guy here like this. You could do a space, equal 1, and then a comma, and then you could drag, or you could type it to like this, equals 1 like that. And then you could hit enter. It takes, now, certain students in class, like I said, when you hit edit, this shows up real small and you can't see it. I don't know why, but the other alternative to that is, let me get rid of this here, hit the pull down here, and this is usually how I do things. I go to complex, and this opens up this really nice window here. So I can drag tag 2 out here like this, do 1 equal sign, because I want to assign the value. And now because you're more in the C programmer, you'll put a semicolon, enter, for the line feed. And then I'll grab the other one, drag it out here like this, space, 1, semicolon, enter, there you go. And then here, where it says complex code, I always like to make it so the next guy kind of knows what's going on. So I could say turn on other tags. We'll just type it like this. All right. Now, if I did this correctly, I can hit enter and it'll accept it. If you forget something, say you forget that, and you totally forgot that, didn't know that, when I hit the OK button, the compiler will politely let me know, hey, you need to put some semicolons here. So I'll put that, boom, there, and then click OK. Now it's good. Okay, so that will turn it on. Let's try this real quick. Let me go ahead and try this with the emulator. I'm going to try, I love the emulator, Crimson 3.2. So let's go ahead and download it. Well, you know what? Hold on, I better go back to get this going. First of all, back here at the display page, I have a button on the screen here. That button is over in my two-state. Where's it at? Two-state indicators. One of these here. And then I right-clicked and I added an action to it. And in this case, if I go to the action, I've got it set up as a push button, and I'm simply toggling tag 1. I just drag that there. That toggles. Oh, all right, let's try this. These are the two. All right, let's go and see this again. All right, so if I turn this on, you can see it's on here. And 3 seconds later, you see that one on. That's perfect. If I turn it off again, I can actually hold it down. But anyway, I don't have anything turn this off. So let's go back here. Let's just continue with this. So let's say here, active off. Right away when I turn it off, I want to turn those. I want to turn the other tags off. So I'll go ahead and do this real quick. I'll do this. I'll drag this out here. 1 equal sign, 0 to assign it. Then I'll do the other one, this guy here. And I'll say up here, turn tags off. Enter. All right. Let's go ahead and try this too. Let me save real quick, download it. All right. Here we are. Let's go ahead and turn this guy on. Okay, we turned it on. Let's see what happens here in 3 seconds. Boom. If I go ahead and turn this off, immediately works great. Try it again. Do that. There we go. All right. All right. So let's say I do that. Let's see what happens here. Uh-oh. So what happened that time, folks? Do you see that this clearly went on? I'll turn it off. Let's try it again. Let's go do that. Let's see what happens this time. So I want you to pick up on that. Because this is using the triggers action, sometimes the triggers don't get triggered like you want. And that time worked. But because of the way the code's working in the background, sometimes I'll say that using the triggers isn't quite consistent, particularly this part here. So I'm going to do this. Instead of doing it like this, I'm going to turn all this, disable this. We'll try this disable. That should turn off that feature. Let me download, make sure that is working right in my emulator. Oops, where'd my emulator go? There it is. So that works. Yep. It should be working. Okay, good. Instead of doing that, then, let me go over here to programs. Now, I wrote a simple program here, and can I make this? I put all this text in. Now I won't regret I did because you can't see it. But anyway, so this program, I'm going to run this program on the display page in tick, and basically I'm going to have this execute every second. So when tag 1 goes on, it's going to start a counter, a timer. The timer is going to increment. You can see that the timer tag over here is an X, which means it's an integer or numeric value. It's a whole number. And then once the timer equals or greater than 3 seconds, I'm going to do this code right here where I turn on, well, I'm going to do the tag 2 and 3 are going to go on just like we did at the complex code. But in this case, I'm also going to set the timer to stay at 3. There's no reason to have it keep incrementing up. And then if I ever turn off the tag 1, it's going to reset everything. Now this is going to run every second. And so, yes, there's a possibility that I could be off by, say, half a second or something. But that's okay. We're at 3 seconds or more is what he wanted. But this will run all the time. So if I go over here to display pages, and in this case, if I click up here on the top of pages, I'm going to run that program in the on tick. The easiest way for me to do this, team, is to go to the right side, grab this guy and drag and drop it right here. Boom, right there. And that'll run it. And then if we go back here, I'm going to, so you can see, I want to grab the timer tag. I just want to throw that out there so we can see what it looks like and what it does. Yeah, let me copy the format here. All right. Oops, well, that didn't matter. All right, let's save this. Let's try it, team. All right, let's give it a shot. Boom. All right, so here we are again. So if I turn this on, there you can see the tag 1 is on. You can see the timer count up. Notice that once it gets to 3 or more, it stays. These are on. If I go turn this off, boom, they go off right away. If I turn it on again, you can see the timer there. Now here's something kind of cool about this, I think. If I turn it off, there you go. Let's say the guy turns it on. And he says, oh, you know what? No, I didn't want to do that. This is really nice because it resets it every time. Perfect. And this logic will work all of the time correct really well. So 2 different ways to do this concept. I made this video for Tim, and I think we both agreed that the logic is better here than it is running on the triggers tab. I did a job many years ago where I used all trigger logic, and then I had a different situation where they lost power, and then when power came back up, this thing was in the on state. Because the triggers is a rising edge or falling edge, it didn't trigger, so then the logic didn't work. So in this case, in that case, I had to go back and redo the whole thing here in programs. So that's just a quick little logic on, I called it my trigger logic 3-second delay. And if you want a copy of this database, just send me an email. Say, hey, Joe, send me the Geo7 trigger logic _ 3-second delay, and I'll share this with you. Hey, thanks a lot, folks. Have a great day. This worked out great for Tim. Hope it works out for you guys as well. See you later.